Stress results, not details. Make it clear to your employees you're more concerned about the final outcome. Please fill in the blank, final outcome, than the day-to-day details. For those of you who have ever been micromanaged, it is a very painful experience. That means that you've got a supervisor standing over you, and they are trying to get you to do everything exactly their way. There's maybe a lot of ways to do it, but they really, really want it done their way. If their hand moves to the right, let it, no, put your hand back in there. That is called being micromanaged. It is a very, very painful way to be an employee, and it also drains the leader's time as well. I just ask you to give employees some freedom. If they can get the job done their way, and there's no harm in it, allow them that freedom. Please do not try to micromanage people. Don't offer solutions to problems. When employees come to you with problems, they're looking for you to solve them. Please fill in the words, solve them. Please don't do it. This happens actually a lot more probably in your earlier stages when you first become a supervisor. Employees come to you and they ask you a question, and you want to try to demonstrate that you are the supervisor for a reason. You've got the expertise, so you give them the answer. You've just now started to create a degree for yourself, because every time that they have any question of any sort, they know if they come to you, boom, they got an easy answer. That means they don't have to research anything themselves. Now you've become the answer person. You will find that all of a sudden your day is shot. And sometimes it's not with the things, it's with the people. I highly recommend that if anybody comes to you with a problem, turn around immediately before you ever answer and just ask them the question. If I was not here right now, how would you handle it? And chances are they're not going to have the answer. Teach your people to think for themselves. For those of you who have ever heard the old saying, give them a fish and feed them for a day. Teach them how to fish and feed them for a lifetime. That's what coaching is all about. Coaching is making them so they can think for themselves and they can do their task themselves without having to bother you. The only downside to that is the employees might be sitting around one day talking and saying, have you noticed? I've been asking the manager a lot of questions lately and they don't know anything. They're dumb on the brick. It's okay, you got more lunchtime now. Turn questions around. If an employee comes to you with a problem, ask them for possible solutions. I already got that one, didn't I? No, I didn't. That's it. If they come with a question, ask for possible answers. That's what we just talked about as well. Give clear and realistic deadlines. If you don't give clear deadlines, employees won't feel accountable for the completion of the task. Keep a delegation log. When you delegate an assignment, write it down. Make sure you know what your employees are doing. Make sure you know what you've delegated. There's nothing worse when you've delegated 5 employees some responsibility for the week, and one of them comes to you on Wednesday and says, I almost got it done. And you go, what? And they go, the thing you gave me. And you go, what? You know, it sends the message you really don't care enough about it to begin with. How about follow-up? Request that employees come to you. You should not be responsible for chasing employees around, calling them at home. You need to have a schedule that says every Monday at this time, or when you come in, you report to me. Have a schedule so they report to you, and you're not chasing them. The next section is 10 ways to give constructive feedback. Now, this is simply no more than how do you step on your employees' shoes without ruining their shine. So we're going to talk about how to do that. The very first one there is start off by saying something nice. Now, I don't mean this to sound token. The reason you need to start off by saying something nice is you want to reduce their anxiety for the fear of their job. Because from an employee's standpoint, whenever you go to an employee and say, can I talk to you in the back room? That's never good news. Rarely. So when you tell an employee you want to talk to them out here and have a cup of coffee with them, make sure you let them know up front that, you know, oh, no, we just want to talk about some coaching. You're a great employee. We just want to talk about some things that happened yesterday. Let them off the hook and let them know their job is not in jeopardy. Number 2, I would like to put an asterisk off next to number 2. This is another huge one. Identify the behavior you want to correct and direct your feedback at the action and not the person. I'll demonstrate that for you. The majority of the time when we want to coach people and we want to give them constructive feedback, the majority of the time, the way most of us word it, it comes across as a personal attack. We feel like we're being attacked. I'm going to ask you to think very cautiously about how you word constructive feedback. And I would like you to envision that the employee is holding off the side over here the issue that you want to talk to them about. So I would like you to envision that you can say, Brad, you're a great employee. You've been with me for a year now, and you're doing a fabulous job. However, I would like to talk to you about something that happened yesterday. Do you feel that? They're protected. They think that they're safe, and we're just going to talk about this thing out here. This takes time. This is not something that will come automatic to you. This is a matter of changing the way you think and changing your culture. All I do is ask you to take a deep breath before you're going to coach somebody on something constructive, something negative, and think about it before it comes out of your mouth. Just verbalize it in a way that they don't feel like you're being personally attacked. Because when you go to an employee and say, you, their response is, I don't think so. It's natural. And they'll reject the information. They'll shut their system down, and they're not going to hear most of the stuff coming at them because they feel like it's an attack. Number 3, make feedback specific. Please fill the words specific. Please do not use words like, you always miss deadlines. Use something specific like, you missed the June 9th deadline for your report, or whatever it is. I would like you to do me a favor and circle the word always in that sentence. You always, circle that word always. And right below that, write the word never in and circle the word never. These are 2 words. It is important that you remove these from your vocabulary if you're in a leadership role. Anytime you use these words when you're coaching employees, they will discount everything you say after those words. When you say, you are always late, they know you're lying. They'll say to you, I'm not always late. Yeah, 90% maybe, but not always. So anytime you say never or you say you're always, that means that everything after that, they figure you're lying too. Because you lied about that. Number 4, be sure the behavior you're correcting can be changed. Number 5 is use I and we, please fill in those blanks, to stress that you want to work out the problem together. In other words, we have a problem, and I'd like to help you with it. I and we. That's changing our vocabulary just a little bit. Don't belabor the point. Make it short and sweet with no lectures. Offer to help the person correct the problem. As I just said, we seem to have a problem, and I'd like to help you with it. Don't set a tone of anger or sarcasm. Do not give feedback while angry. Wait 24 hours. Now, I want to make sure you're clear. If you're coaching an employee and you see something that is wrong and you need to correct it, that's okay. But if you see something that gets you angry, then please wait 24 hours. Because if you try to discuss something constructively with an employee when you're angry, the chances are it will not come out well. It will come out as an attack. If you're putting your feedback in writing, write it down and let it sit overnight. Read it the next day and make sure you still feel the same way. Especially if you're talking about disciplinary action. Don't write a disciplinary note and then give it to them right away. Let it sit overnight, and the next day, about 90% of the time, you'll probably rewrite it and soften it a little bit with the same points. Being a great leader, you cannot take every wave head on. It's like standing in the surf and being hit by every single wave. It'll wear you out. It'll beat you up. There's some things that are going to happen in your restaurant that it's simply just worth ducking and letting it go over your head. It's just not worth it. It might be a great employee. If one day has a bad hair day and you know that's not normal, there's no sense going after them over it. It's just not worth it. You'll wear yourself out. Let's talk about some manager styles. There's 4 major styles. One is the leader, one is a boss, one is a friend, and one is a follower. Now, I'm not going to cover all 4. But I would like to cover the characteristics that we would like to see you possess. And that is of the leader. The characteristics are, you have the clarity of the organization or the team. You are very clear about what the organization is trying to achieve. You have purpose, goals, and direction. When you walk into the restaurant, you know what you're trying to do every single day. You've got a direction. You're going after it. You are self-confident. You work through people to solve problems. The worst thing that can happen in your environment is office politics. Office politics get started very easily. If I have a problem with this person here, I'll go tell everybody else about how bad this person is because I want support. I want everybody to feel that I'm right, or I want to try to get them thinking that way because that's support. So that is called office politics because I get other people involved in my problems with this person here. I highly recommend that if you have two people in your work environment that are butting heads, if they come to you and start whining to you, tell them to go back and talk to the person themselves. Anytime you put yourself in the middle of a situation like that, you're toast. Allow employees to work it together. In my office, anytime any two employees are going at each other, I always give them the credit card and tell them to go to lunch. And when they come back, they always say, oh, it's just a misperception. However, I have noticed my card is being used a lot lately for problems. How about values-driven? What does that got to do with anything? I didn't even realize how important it was for the employees to understand my value system. In my company, I had what's called a PQ&I test done. I had a consultant come in, and they evaluated my employees. They gave them this test, and what the whole idea was is it was to test how the employees felt about their value system compared to the value system of the company. It came out, and the results came back. The employees said, here's their value system, and here was the company's down here. I thought, where did they get that at? The consultant said, you need to sit down and tell them your value system. They need to understand more about you. They need to know more about you. I said, I can't believe that's going to do anything. And they said, trust us. I sat my 35 employees down, and I told them what my value systems were very easily. I said, you will never, ever lie to each other. You will never lie to a client. Even if it's to cover me up or to help me out, never lie to me. Never lie to me or for me. Don't lie to each other. Don't lie to the shoppers. You will never lie in this organization. Integrity is the most important thing to me. The second thing is I leave the office every day at 3 o'clock because my son is the most important thing to me. I'm his soccer coach. I'm his baseball coach. I'm his ski instructor. He means more to me than anything. And I will leave here when I have anything going on. If you have a child that has a ballet recital at noon tomorrow, I want you out of here. That stuff is important to me. I just laid it very, very clearly out my value systems to my employees. We took the PQ&I about 60 days later, and boom, par. Absolutely par. And it's changed the environment, the work environment dramatically because they understood more about my value system. They weren't protecting me. It lightened up my organization dramatically. So do your employees really understand more about you? Being decisive. Are you the kind of person that can make decisive decisions? Do you build people? See, there's two different types of leaders. One is when you hire a new employee and you see them rising up in the ranks really quickly, some of you out here might look at that person and go, whoa, what a threat. This person could have taken over my job. This looks serious. And then we try to suppress the person. There's also the kind of leader that says, wow, this person's good. I could use 10 more of them. Because these people can help catapult me to the next level. That's what an outstanding leader thinks. They build people. They do not fear anybody. They have respect for balanced lives. As I mentioned earlier, people have other lives outside of work. We have to respect that. You're energetic. You're highly intuitive. You don't need reports. You can feel when your staffing is right. You know when your customer service is good. You can just feel it. And you lead by example, which is obviously the most important thing. You don't have to do this now, but I would highly recommend to you that you sit down one evening with a glass of Chardonnay and take a look at all of these characteristics, and I'd like you to take and put a check mark next to the characteristics that you possess. Now, that does not mean that if back in 1967 you were decisive, you get to check the box. It needs to be something you possess on a regular basis. The areas that you do not possess, please seek from somebody above you some coaching on those areas and try to fulfill those. Personal goals, personal action plan. Let's move on to a page called philosophy. See, outstanding leaders, they aren't paid to make the popular decision. Please fill in the blank. Popular. They are